What up? Pat Mayo here. Before we start, I want to let you know that we recorded this before Cam Newton signed with the Patriots. And obviously we talk about N'Keal Harry and Julien Edelman in this episode. So you might see some special guests pop up in order to break that down because I couldn't get Chris and Jake back in the studio and on the line at the same time in this quick of a turnaround. So I had to talk to other people to do it. Pay attention on tomorrow's show when I drop my top 200 rankings. I had to switch the order of the shows, but that's the way it's going to go. Enjoy.
The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, part 4, the final part of the wide receiver player profiles for the 2020 fantasy football season. You want to find out the rest of the players that we did, the previous parts and the running backs, hit the description of this video or podcast. Also, smash the like button to the video and tell me in the comment section your favorite last round flyer at wide receiver this year, because we're going rapid fire style through the wide receivers, because we did the top 40 or so. Now we're just going to fly through some of the names that we like at the back end of the draft or don't like. Potentially. Also, rate and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast, preferably on Apple Podcasts. If you have an iPhone, that would be great. But if you want to do it on Stitcher, or Spotify, or Google, that would be well received as well. So please go do all that. There's also time codes for all the players. If you don't give a shit about someone, just click to the next guy. Chris Meaney from Fade the Noise. Jake Ciely from theathletic.com. is on the line. We know him as one of the premier rankers in the fantasy football business. Jake, that's why we need to have you on the show. You bring the rankings, I bring the nicknames together. We make we make a solid team here.
Solid team. I always say I think you'd be a little bit better. You bring a lot of it.
I don't know about that. In year 7 of us doing these shows, we're starting to get a rapport, I think. Let's jump right into this, though, because we have a ton of receivers to go through. We don't want to spend too much time on.
A lot of decent names, and it's deep.
Let's start with Edelman. Jules Edelman is number 36 on the board.
But within this offense, with a guy like Julien Edelman as your primary focus, or James White underneath as your primary focus, Cam, if he can resemble that quarterback from 2018, is actually crafted pretty well for a play-action-based scheme. And again, in 2018, he was number 1 in play-action completion percentage. So, I think he's pretty well prepared. He's a smart guy. He's going to pick up the terminology very quickly. He is definitely going to be the starter week 1, make no bones about it. But I'm not sure how much he's going to run, guys. I think he's like a 350 to 400 rushing yard contributor. Again, touchdowns are hard to predict. But ultimately, I think you're going to see a more pocket-tied version of Cam who's going to lean using his touch on some of those short intermediate field throws to the likes of White and to Edelman. And I am not buying any of this N'Keal Harry breakout 7+ touchdowns nonsense. Not one iota.
Well, Jeff, how do you expect this to run? Do you think it will resemble something like when Jacoby Brissett had taken over at starting quarterback after Garoppolo went down that year, where you're seeing a little bit of not only just play action, but the run option? Like, you're going to have, if you only have Cam for a year and it's incentive based, like, he's probably going to be running. You might as well take advantage of that. And in the receiving game, like, I'm not as down on N'Keal Harry in this spot as Brad is. I think that N'Keal Harry could potentially outscore Julien Edelman with Cam as the quarterback.
Well, it is interesting when you think of when Cam had the most success. He had the most success when the Carolina Panthers were fielding that basketball team, the Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess era. Yeah. You had those guys on the field, big targets that he could throw to. It's always nice to have a Julien Edelman on the squad. So you have him. And then James White as that sort of safety valve out of the backfield. But I do agree. I think they're smart enough, obviously, in New England, to say we have a guy who we can design runs around. We're going to do that. And I also agree, Brad. I mean, I have him projected right now at 14 games, and I have 78 rushing attempts, 395 rushing yards, 3 scores. So I'm not saying he's gonna be at a Lamar pace by any means. But even with that, he's top 5 in rushing yards at the position, even, minus the 2 games. So that's enough to give him a nice high floor. And Harry, hey, it's hot take city right now. We're in July. So every fantasy analyst out there is bored, especially because of COVID this year. Everybody wants to, one up everybody else. And let's just drive up N'Keal Harry into the 3rd round or something. I'm not buying that, but I'd like to see him take a step forward. I mean, this is a kid with a 1st-round pedigree. I'd like to see him, get out on the field and hopefully Cam can do something for him. I'm just not going to I'm not going to overpay for N'Keal Harry by any means.
I have N'Keal Harry at number 89 in the rankings. I'm not going to go crazy with it if he follows me, and it's
Bravo.
Hey, thank you. That means I think he can be a decent fantasy contributor. I just want to see how this plays out a little bit. If he falls to me, I'll take him. I'm not going to reach for him. He's not one of my guys, so I don't need to go reaching for him in this circumstance.
I forgot. They picked up Marquise Lee in that sneaky move
that's
from
right.
the Jaguars letting him go.
It's another guy that's just free.
I think
sure
I
we'll talk about on DraftKings.
Like all these guys are going to be free in fantasy football drafts.
Right.
Maybe you make your decision.
Your boys on this team too, Pat. Demir Bird.
Birdman, Coco beware.
The Birdman.
Yeah, Coco right behind
And
me.
Gunner.
Check it out.
Gunner also Zawuski.
He's grabbing Coco off the shelf.
There he is right there.
what
We
he's
got
doing.
the Birdman.
The Birdman, nice.
Gotta go. I remember because that was in Toronto, WrestleMania 6. Just him coming out in that little mini cart with the parrot on his shoulder. Fuck, I love Coco Beware. That was great. Marv's number 38.
Yes.
Stafford's going to be back as high as 76, as low as 124. No one likes Marvin Jones. I feel
I
bad
do.
for the guy. I like him too. So here's a fun Marv stat for you.
Love
Since
it.
2017, there are 4 players averaging at least 0.6 of a touchdown reception per game. Devontae Adams, 0.68. DeAndre Hopkins, 0.67. Tyreek Hill, 0.6. Marvin Jones, 0.61. Number 3 in touchdowns per game over the past 3 seasons. Why not? He's
don't
going to
know.
have bad games. That's going to happen. But it's not as many as you think.
No, it's not. He's a beast in the red zone. I think he has 23 touchdowns over the past 3-4 years. It leads the lines. I think I may have said this on the first show we did. 7.1 targets per game last year for him. Galladay 7.2. As with Jones missing half of the year, he was on pace for over 1,000 yards. He was going to hit that 9 touchdowns again that he seems to hit every other year.
And then someone just took a big syringe of
and that
Driscoll
was
and
it.
put it in your veins.
And there is that again with Marvin Jones. I seem to be the guy that always bring it up. Like there is some injury concern. Maybe that's why people don't like him. He's starting to trend up a little bit because people are talking about this. They're talking about him being one of the wide receivers that in the middle rounds that is just, solid, right? A team that has 2 solid options in Galladay and Jones on the other side.
Percent chance, Jake, Marv outscores Galladay this year. 20%?
Oh, 0.
It's not 0.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay, 0.1. That's not happening.
Galladay breaks his foot week 1. Who
He may have been ahead of him at the time he went down the
No.
injury last year.
But so I was actually going to bring up the points per game. So Galladay was actually still top.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how little I give a shit about points per game when I'm drafting people for 16 games.
And no, it's better. It's more indicative of where they finished. That was going to be my point. Kenny Galladay finished at 5, but he was only 7 or 8 in points per game. But on the flip side, what I was going to bring up is Marvin Jones was wide receiver 27, actually wide receiver 18 in points per game, playing with David Blau and your boy Jeff Driscoll for part of the season. Like,
Forgot about Mr. Blau.
Yeah, me too.
Mr. Blau.
so like that's the thing is like Marvin Jones. I have him as wide receiver 28 in my rankings. He's right behind AJ Green, and to be honest with you, I could see that's a better question for me. Like, I think there's a really good percentage chance that he finishes in front of AJ Green, who we just brought up in the last show that we don't know what AJ Green is. We know what Marvin Jones is. And we know as of today, Matthew Stafford's healthy. When Matthew Stafford's on the field before he got hurt last year was QB5. He's going to pass this. This offense is pretty much almost exactly what it was last year with a new running back in DeAndre Swift and a defense isn't really that much better. They lost pieces too, even with the draft. You could argue it's just as bad as it was last year. So for all the teams that people want to say, well, this team's going to have to play catch up, and this team's going to have to play catch up, and they're going to be the Carolina Panthers. Stafford's going to be out there slinging the ball like he always does every single week, and Marvin Jones is one of the best values.
So draft Marvin Jones is what the 3 of us are saying.
3 of us, absolutely.
Darius Slayton, wide receiver number 39. Golden Tate, wide receiver number 58 at pick 150, or Darius Slayton at pick number 99 at wide receiver number 39. I don't think anyone's
Shepard in there too.
Where's Shepard?
50, wide receiver 50.
I get like Slayton's just becoming a really sexy guy to draft.
He is.
And
moving
he's
upwards.
going to go ahead of this number 39. He'll probably end up around like 31 because everyone's writing articles about him. Everyone's talking about him.
Yeah.
People are like,
He's
look at what he did last year. Think about what he could do this year. But as it stands right now, Shepard's healthy, Tate's healthy, Ingram's healthy.
Saquon catching balls in the backfield.
Like I get it. He showed
Shepard.
enormous upside, but I think I would rather, not overspend on someone like Slayton. And like Tate didn't even have that bad of a year last year.
No, I know.
And neither did Shepard. Like they're going to be good as well. Like I like Daniel Jones. The first like 4 weeks of their schedule sucks. But after that, like Jones could probably be like a top 10 quarterback with what he does.
For this reason, give me Sterling Shepard. Like Sterling Shepard has proven time and again that he's another one that kind of like stay on the field. Like he's had his own issues, but he's also proven that he can play outside more than people think. And he will be back inside quite a bit. Now, will it be as much when Golden Tate's out there? Obviously not. But are the Giants going to be running 3 wide if Evan Ingram's healthy? You're probably going to see some 2. And if it's 2, I think Golden Tate's the one that comes off the field. And if not, it's Slayton that comes off the field. That's the question I have for this, is that Slayton's being overdrafted because if there's one constant, I think while healthy, it's Shepard. It's not Tate and Slayton are going to be the ones coming off the field, not Shepard. And so similar to what we talked about back with Robert Woods and the Rams and the concerns of Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods is staying on the field all the time. Give me the guy that's staying on the field all the time. And if he's going to come at a discount to Darius Slayton, all the better.
I do like Jones a lot. Is this one of those scenarios, Jake? You always talk about the cake and the icing. Like, just draft Jones. There's just a lot of weapons.
It's going to be. I feel like the offense is going to be middle of the pack. You need to draft because it is. I mean, on paper, it's a rough beginning.
First 4 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, but then he should be really good.
Yeah.
I mean, well, and we say rough first 4 weeks, but we've seen schedules and teams change within season. Let alone, I mean, those first 4 weeks might not even be as bad as we think they are by the time the season starts. Let alone week 2. So I want to say avoid it all completely, but Daniel Jones is somebody to bring this up. I know we're talking wide receivers, but he's starting to get some helium too because of his rushing ability and the fact that he did finish close to the top 10 on a points per game basis because he didn't start the entire season. So, you might, to Pat's point, you stay away from Daniel Jones if his value gets too high. But again, I'm going to come back to is just the real takeaway here is, avoid it, Chris, but I'm not avoiding this one similar to the Cowboys because Shepard is the discount right now. And I think Shepard is the best pick of the 3 right now.
Yeah, I think if I was going to do rankings, it would be Shepard, then Slayton, then Tate. And I think they'd be a lot closer together. Like, not bunched one would be, like, I don't think I would have any of them as high as 39 where Slayton.
Here, I'll give you this. I put it in my sleepers column on the site on The Athletic, is that I was talking about targeting the slot and inside. And Daniel Jones targeted. So a good example is I used Keenan Allen as an example. Is Shepard ran 41.8% of the time. Keenan Allen worked 46.4%. Rivers and Daniel Jones targeted inside of the slot almost the exact same amount, 46% of the time. So that's the point about Shepard, is that he works in there enough that when he's not coming off the field and he's playing outside, it doesn't really matter. Jones is looking that way in general.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Slayton had those big couple blow-up games when Shepard was sidelined with a concussion, when Tate wasn't on the team, and there was no Ingram.
And Saquon Barkley was banged up.
Yeah. So let's say that the stuff that Jake is pointing to, like the slot percentage and stuff like that, that's the stuff when you use promo code Mayo at fadethenoise.com. Very easy to look up. That's going to be one of the coolest features of the site.
Nice play.
Next guys, Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald and Andy Isabella and Keyshawn Johnson. These guys are all, I would say Kirk's probably the number 2 behind DeAndre Hopkins, but one of these guys could present a real value. Kirk is going at pick number 101, Fitzgerald pick number 200, and then the other guys just aren't even really going at this point. But if we think that we were kind of, I don't remember where we all went to. We can go to part 1 of this series. So long ago at this point. I don't love Hopkins for where he's going. I think that he's their best receiver by far. Yep. But with the way that this offense operates, it's the Drew Brees socialist offense before Michael Thomas showed up. It's like, hey, are you open? I'll throw to you. So there's a lot to go around. They do run a high percentage of plays. I don't know if any one of these guys is going to be consistent, but Kirk is the best of them at this point. Like Fitzgerald is one of the best receivers ever. But I think his time may have passed.
He's there because they brought it. They told him, listen, one more year, stay with Kyler. We'll get you another talented wide receiver to play with you and Hopkins. But I think I'm in on Kirk for where he's going outside the 40. The upside, we saw a little bit of it. I think he had a blow-up game against Tampa. What Jake was like 2 or 3 touchdowns over 100 yards, and you just see that upside. He's not going to have to face the top coverage. He had that last year. He was facing a lot of top corners,
and he was banged up at the same time. Like he's
been banged up since he's entered.
The problem is,
that's the problem.
Well, I mean, the bigger issue too is that as a part of this offense, and maybe it changes from year 1 to year 2, is that you could look at Kirk and you could look at Fitzgerald and be like, oh, they're good plays this week. And then Damiere Byrd has 6 catches, or Keyshawn Johnson has 6 catches, or Andy Isabella's a guy, or they just throw it to Drake out of the backfield, or Chase Edmonds is healthy.
Crappy Butler.
Let's
You
just
forgot
throw it
him
to him.
too.
Yeah, like there's just so many guys that I don't know if anyone realistically on the Cardinals is going to return value over the course of the season. You might want to try to like guess right because these guys are all going to be bench guys. Maybe you want to guess right in a good matchup. They could present you with a 0 in your lineup very much at the same time.
No, I would take a gamble on Kirk for the fact of where he's going, and he does have true number 2 real ability, can play inside and out. He's actually very similar to Sterling Shepard, can play inside or outside, is better inside, but can play both and could stay on the field. And, you know, you brought up Larry Fitzgerald. And that's where I'm conflicted, Chris, because part of me says, you know, they bring him back for another year. Do they pull him off the field out of respect? And I'm not saying like, you know, Cliff Kingsbury would go that route. It's something I would think about. Like, hey, you know, if it's only 2 wide receivers, is it Fitzgerald and Hopkins or is it Kirk and Hopkins? Because if I knew it was Kirk and Hopkins, I'd be all over Kirk. But I just don't know that if they just don't put Fitzgerald out there because of his experience, because of bringing him back, because he's the vet and, you know, whatever it might be.
Yeah, and I still think I mean, not from a fantasy standpoint, but I still think Fitz has a lot to offer just being on the field.
Yeah, no, I agree. And from a real life perspective, I agree. From a fantasy perspective,
No, he's
Yeah, he went 75 and 800 last year, so it's not like he's totally dead.
Yeah, they do.
As
They
the
also
one
just
at
brought in
times.
Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's going to confuse things a little bit.
No, I meant to the point of like him still being on the field potentially over Kirk.
Yeah.
Jerry Jeudy, Doug Jeudy, should I say?
Judge Judy.
I like Doug Jeudy better. Judge Judy's had her days. All on to Doug Jeudy now. Maybe Jerry Judy's the next wave in the Jeudy family line. But
Wait, no, you should do. Who was the sister of Doug Judy on that one episode? That's who you should go with. They make it really.
So you see, this is
obscure.
why you leave the nicknames to me, Jake. You try way too hard at this stuff. 42 overall, listed here in this photo as an intern at Goldman Sachs. First day on the job. We're a nice suit. Pick 103 overall. Who's to say he's not better than Cortland Sutton? Right away.
Everybody.
I really like Sutton, but I mean, Judy's obviously very talented. You see him running the pylons. Like, who wants to go after Jeudy? You see him right there? This guy's a freak, man, in the slot.
Give some stock tips too.
Yeah. I think I'm out from a redraft standpoint.
Jeudy or Hardman,
Just
who's
a
the next
lot
guy on the
going
list?
there. Yeah. I'll probably
Jeudy.
take the upside.
I take Jeudy.
100%.
Hardman is like the
I know.
quintessential.
And this is another guy who's like Deontay Johnson is every week I look and I see just driving up draft boards.
I get it though.
Well, which is so crazy because
but
it's
what
like
if, what if Hill breaks his foot week 1? Then you have Hardman. You're
No,
like, oh,
but
boy.
you-
But
I mean,
we
you
already
can play
saw
like-
that.
And he was good because you're getting him at pick
I know.
number. You're getting him at
we
pick
could
number
play that
110.
game with some. Yeah, we could play that game with so many people.
No,
but
you
that's
no,
where
no,
I'm
no.
saying-
I completely
Chiefs'
disagree.
offense
Yeah, the
is the
Chiefs' offense
best.
is different.
Yeah.
Like if you
No,
can
no.
get someone who gets the ball a lot in that offense, all of a sudden it's like they're great.
Right, but I'm saying like go back to the Giants and the Cowboys and those teams. Like, what if one of them breaks their foot and then we have a clear picture? There's only 2 options to go. Like, that's what I was saying. I'm not saying you're wrong and the opportunity wouldn't be amazing. I'm just saying that you could say that about a lot of situations where if blank gets hurt, it helps
But
so
this
many
is
other people.
the best situation. I don't think the heir to the potato chip fortune, Byron Pringle, is going to do too much.
No, but look,
fair.
here I'll go
That's
back to the
too.
Cowboys. I'll go back to the Cowboys 100%. Like let's use them as an example. You tell me Amari Cooper breaks his foot, is out for the entire season. I'm taking CeeDee Lamb over MeCole Hardman with Tyreek Hill breaking his foot because I'm taking that situation and that talent of a wide receiver. MeCole Hardman is fine. He's a poor man's Tyreek Hill. Like, everybody needs to chill out on him being Tyreek Hill. Like, he caught a lot of touchdowns and very few receptions. But the other one that people are just ignoring, and I don't know how many times like Silva and so many other people have to tweet it out, 13 catches or 13 targets, something ridiculously low like that on the games where Watkins and Hill were out there, because it's still Kelsey. It's still the backfield. He's still at best the third wide receiver, fourth option, maybe even fifth. They brought DeMarcus Robinson back for one more year. It's just, there's a lot that needs to happen for him to be consistently useful, where I would just take the second wide receiver on the Cowboys versus the third option on the Chiefs, despite it's all coming down because he scored a touchdown like every other reception.
Well, we don't know if Lamb's going to be the number 2 or number 3 for one thing, but
I was saying if Cooper was out, is what I was saying.
But here's the thing though. If you draft CeeDee Lamb this year, because you have to think about it from a psychological standpoint as well. If you have CeeDee Lamb on your team, you're probably going to play him. You know that if Hill isn't hurt, you're not going to play Hardman.
Right.
You only play him if
Right.
he's in his good spot. With Lamb,
No, I don't
he has the
disagree
ability
with that.
to hurt your team if you draft him.
No, you're moving the goalpost a little bit. My entire
I'm not.
point
I'm
was
talking about drafting one or the other.
I'm still sticking to your point. Like, I just got on this tangent because you said if Tyreek Hill breaks his foot. my entire point was that you could play that with a lot of players, and that's why I brought up CeeDee Lamb. Of like that situation would be the same for me, and I would prefer that situation over both these guys breaking their foot. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, Hardman, where he's going, I'm probably not going to draft him.
Right.
But I can see why people are drafting.
I do understand it too. Yeah, I mean, not only do you have
I'd rather have Jeudy.
Tyreek Hill.
I'd rather have Jeudy over Lamb. I'd rather have Jeudy over Hardman. Like, just give me Jeudy.
Yeah, I mean, you also have Sammy Watkins, who hasn't been able to stay healthy over the past couple of years too. So yeah, I mean, Jeudy. Yeah, for where he's going, I mean, he's fine. There's also a lot of bodies there too in Denver. A team that probably going to play at a little bit of a slower pace, use both backs who can catch 50 balls out of the backfield. And I think Sutton is a true number one, and he proved it last year with Drew Lock. I mean, he really didn't miss a beat, and he's dealt with poor quarterback play over the past couple of years too. So yeah, I'm fine with Jeudy in the slot, but what are we really projecting from him though, Jake? Like, how do you see the ball moving around in Denver? Like, this is a guy who maybe gets 5 to 7 targets. That would be
Unless he's awesome.
And there's a really good chance because he does look awesome. Yeah, you watch the tape.
He is awesome.
And
But I
he's
have for
awesome
61
at
receptions.
And presumably he's going to draw, at least in his rookie season, until he shows. I mean, it would work kind of twofold. That one, he's probably going to initially draw second-tier coverage because Sutton will be the primary guy.
Agreed.
But if Jeudy just starts blowing up, then he's going to get the number one coverage on him. That'd be a good thing because he's fucking
You saw that
putting up a ton
at
of numbers.
Bama between him and
Yeah.
Ruggs, yeah.
So, I mean, I just like the upside of Jeudy here. Like, I wouldn't bank on him being great in fantasy this year, but I think of like kind of all these guys independently. He has the easiest path to be the best of these guys.
Yeah,
At least in my mind. Although a guy who probably has higher upside, although it's not flashy, number 44 is Jamison Crowder.
That's what I was going to say. Besides Crowder.
Crowder. Say it right, Frenchie.
Jameson.
So you have Jamison Crowder. Who was the guy who's most definitely going to be terrible that they draw? Oh, Mimsy.
Yeah.
Denzel Mims. Mims is going at pick number 68. But you also have to deal with Sam Darnold, who's terrible. That's not good. Although Jamison Crowder only stands like 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage, so easy passes.
Exactly. It's, what is it, like 16 grabs in one game last year? I don't know if it was that much, Jake.
I will say one thing. Let's go back to the team that Jamison Crowder used to play for. For all the love that Terry McLaurin's getting, why aren't we throwing at Jamison Crowder for the exact same reason?
Yeah. I agree. I think he's a guy that I think could catch 80 balls.
Yeah.
Is like a guy that if you have him on your squad and he's playing every
Hey,
single
Chris,
week, he's healthy.
would you say he could catch 76.2 balls?
Is that what you got him projected for?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As somebody who you don't have to draft as a wide receiver 3, but somebody
will be.
that you'll put in your lineup as a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and maybe the return of the silver spooner, Chris Herndon the fourth. Maybe that takes
I'm
away
not giving up on him.
Maybe that takes away from his red zone presence. Where,
He's free now, too. And he was a top 10 tight end pick last year, and now he's free.
and like Crowder gets a surprising amount of work in the red zone.
He does, and he always has.
Yeah, just
Always.
he's good at separating himself,
Yeah.
and that's just you think that he's small. That's
Yep.
not going to happen, but he does. They did bring in Brashad Perriman. So the way that they're being drafted right now on the Jets, Crowder 44 overall at receiver, Perriman number 53, and Mimsy is coming in at number 68. What do you think Perriman does here? At 4 good games down the stretch, basically without Godwin and Evans, and Jameis chucking it up every play. Like, what do you mean? Like, is he good, or is does he have Drew Bennett syndrome?
We've waited long enough. He's finally here.
No, if you look at his profile picture when he's not wearing his helmet, the man looks like he's 83 years old.
He's gonna hide here.
He's
Who's the other
number
that
one
used
in
to
the
look
bad
that way?
hairline draft.
There was one that who the hell was that wide receiver? There was a wide receiver that looked super ass old after like his only second season. I forget who it was.
It was like
Probably
But anyway,
Perriman.
Was it like when Greg Oden was drafted when he was 94 years old?
Oh, old man
I think it was
LeBron
like
James.
Rashad
still.
Perriman had no hair.
Yeah, but Perriman's had like the bad hairline
Yeah.
since like I don't know, he was 21.
Since you and I
It
started
might have
working
been.
together,
I think it
boards on
was because it
him,
was
yeah.
when Perriman was on the Ravens.
Yes.
So that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was the picture. Yeah, it was Perriman the entire time. But in any case, I've been getting a ton of Perriman so far because you go down that stretch where he's playing with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin only missed the last game. Like for people who are like, oh, Chris Godwin missed the last game. That was it. And Brashard Perriman still had those 4 monster games, 3 of them with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the field. So granted, that's with Jameis Winston throwing the ball 8 billion times. But like, what are we asking for here? You just brought up, both of you guys said it, like for where he's going, the cost of what he is, where he finished last year. If you just take those games alone, he was a top 5 wide receiver. Yeah. Is this somebody on this team that could be the number 1? Absolutely. Are you having to pay anything close for that risk or upside? I should say no.
Jake Ciely says Brashad Perriman, top 5 wide receiver this year. You heard it on the Pat Mayo Experience
Sucker.
first. I think I'd rather like there are two, like 53, 54, and 55. Perriman's 53. Preston Williams is 54. DeSean Jackson's 55.
Give me Preston Williams.
I think I'd want Williams, then D-Jax, and then Brashad Perriman.
I think
I have Preston Williams
going.
at 36.
Yeah, same. He's a top 40 wide receiver for me.
People, so I'm not like accusatory here. There's a reason, like casual fans miss this, but people don't understand like Preston Williams talent wise. If it wasn't for the off the field issues and not playing his entire last year of college, like I talk about me, and I'm not saying I'm the best person out there. I had a round 3, as in the 3rd round of the NFL draft, grade on him. Preston Williams, if he would have played, would have been at least round 3, maybe even snuck into round 2 on a pure talent basis. His off the field issues is what kicked him to the curb.
Emmanuel Sanders is number 45, and now in New Orleans, probably 45 years old at that. He's going at pick number 117. You in or out on Sanders? Well, we got to start rapid firing through some of these guys. I'm out.
For that cost, I'm in because he'll be my wide receiver 4.
Yeah, I don't mind him as my wide receiver 4 too. He proved to me that he still has a little bit left. I last year coming off that injury, that Achilles injury, I didn't think that he really had anything left. He proved to me that he does. In that offense, I'm in.
Okay. 46, Henry Ruggs is being drafted. That's 122 overall. Guys not currently inside the top 60. Tyrell, the Gazelle Williams, or Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
Give me all the Henry Ruggs. People think that he's a one trick.
Give
People think
me Renfrow.
I like
No,
Renfrow.
Give
too.
me 90s teen heartthrob.
No,
Hunter
Was it
Renfrow.
People-
Chart say third
people
and Renfrow? In
people
the red
threw out
zone
the
all day.
speak of the Saints. They threw out the Ted Ginn comp for Ruggs. That was the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. People are going to realize that Henry Ruggs is more than a deep ball threat. He's the number 1 on this team from day one.
Yeah, so I don't think that he's out of the big 3 that were drafted in Jeudy and Lamb. I don't think that he is the best of the 3, and we're splitting hairs. But we haven't talked about a Vegas wideout yet, right?
No, these are the 3.
This is the guy.
Who is the other guy that they drafted? Like
Well, they have Tyrell. They got Brian Edwards.
No,
right?
they had like the running back combo
Lynn,
guy. They
Lynn
drafted.
Bolton.
Yeah.
Lynn Bowden.
They've and we're not talking backs, but they've drafted some guys who, in my opinion,
They want speed.
They
got
want
a
speed.
need for speed.
They're going to run a lot of 3-10 sets. I could see Jacobs getting at least 280 carries. I don't think he's going to be a guy that catches 30, 40 balls, but they did draft some guys who have a lot of speed and, could give him the ball on the line of scrimmage or some quick slants, some out routes, anything like that. But he's my favorite rookie wide receiver in a redraft standpoint, just because I don't see him as a guy who's going to catch over 60 balls. He may only get 50 or something, but he is going to be the number 1 on that team, and they're going to have to throw. Like, they could run all they want. Gruden says that.
Who do you think leads the Raiders in receptions?
I
Ruggs.
probably Waller.
And then,
But out of the
and then
wo-
probably Renfrow if he stays
Oh,
healthy.
Waller.
No, I don't think. I think Ruggs. I think Ruggs will lead.
Renfrow had the best case scenario last year because it was kind of the Eagles. There was nobody left.
He is a reliable. He's got decent hands as a wideout, but I can't see him catching like 50 plus balls.
He runs Derek Carr's favorite kind of route,
They're out
close
there-
to him.
They're out there practicing last week.
Derek Carr's middle of the pack, which means he's better than everybody thinks as a
Yeah,
deep
Derek
ball.
Carr,
That
Derek
doesn't mean
Carr is
he's
going to be
good.
like on the bench watching Marcus Mariota play
Carr's
for like
an-
3 weeks.
I think Carr's an underrated
Carr made
quarterback, to be
Cooper and
honest.
Crabtree both top 10 wide receivers in the
Well,
same
I'm
season.
sorry, Jake. I'm not drafting for 2014.
But he is always
just
among the
saying.
top quarterbacks in terms of completion percentage, but he doesn't really throw the football downfield. But I like Ruggs from a standpoint. It's just he doesn't have to deal with the same competition that Reagor has to deal with or that Lamb has to deal with. It's,
We'll get to some of the I guess the Lamb and Jeudy is sort of the tier that he would be in terms of overall talent. I think some of the other rookie wide receivers, by and large, might just be better values because they're going later than this.
Yeah.
Mike Williams with Tyrod or Ebert eventually, probably not at some point. I feel like this is low. Mike Williams is really good.
That's not when you're talking about the volume of throws. Look, I am one of the staunchest detractors when it comes to Justin Herbert. Like, yeah, I called him Gabbard at draft time. Like, I don't like him. But if we knew Herbert was starting even half the season, you could move Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry up. But Tyrod, like, he's efficient. He's great. He's fine for fantasy purposes. He'll be rock solid, scoring 15 points every single week. But Tyrod's just not going to throw the ball 550, 600 times. And that's the problem with Mike Williams. So it's also the touchdowns. Tyrod's not going to throw for 25, 30 touchdowns. So that's Mike Williams' heyday. That's right there. So between Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, which Keenan Allen should see a lot of the Tyrod Taylor targets, and Hunter Henry, and then the backfield with Austin Eckler, like, it's the volume. That's really what it comes down to, Pat. It's just pure volume.
when you think of Tyrod, do you see the plays when he chuck downfield every now
Sammy.
and then to Sammy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking with Mike Williams.
I kind of see it.
Just chuck it up to Mike Williams. Like he's the guy.
No,
He's
that's
the
more,
guy that
that's
you go
more
chuck it
Keenan
up.
Allen.
I don't know, man. Like you want like a jump ball scenario, 50 yards downfield. I want Mike Williams up there.
Yeah, wasn't he?
Just
Didn't he lead the league
bodies
in
people.
yards per catch last year? I mean, yeah, it's a touchdowns. I think
I
it's
thought it was
been.
AJ Brown.
It may have been. It was. I think.
What's the?
Check it out.
You guys are acting like Keenan Allen's a miniature football player. The dude's
I'm not.
No,
But
no.
they're
6'4".
used in different ways.
Yeah.
Oh, they certainly are. I'm just like, but how many of those he's going to connect on? Like, it wasn't like I argued that same point that he was good with Sammy Watkins, but it wasn't like Sammy Watkins was a wide receiver 1.
No, but this is wide receiver number 47 on the board, Jake.
Okay, well, I have Mike Williams at wide receiver 49. So there you go.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather have Williams than Ruggs. Kidding me?
No way.
I'll bet you.
No
Okay.
way, he says. I think I'd rather have Ruggs too, but
Put a loogie on it.
I probably
Yeah,
would just as Chargers.
it's called a Louis. Let's put real money on this one. I feel about this one.
Williams versus
Okay.
Ruggs.
Williams versus Ruggs. Let's do $100.
$20 DraftKings.
No, let's do $100.
You're rolling deeper than I am. We'll say 50.
All right, let's go 50. Williams versus Ruggs. Prison Mike Williams. Let's go, my guy. I like Mike Williams.
Think Anthony Miller can outscore either of them? No chance.
Anthony
But
Miller,
I
yeah.
like Miller.
I think Anthony Miller.
I have
could
Anthony
outscore
Miller
Allen.
at 38.
I think I could see Anthony Miller could outscore Allen Robinson like 15% of the time.
Oh.
So I have Anthony Miller higher than both of them. Yet to your question, yes, Chris.
No Taylor
because
Gabriel, right? He's
It's
gone.
just and
Yeah, but
down the end of
again-
the season. Hey, at the end of the year,
The good
Miller.
Henry Ruggs, 10 gid.
Anthony Miller was a borderline wide receiver 1 at the end of the season. Funneled targets to 2 options, and that's what you like in this offense.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of passing options.
No, I like Anthony Miller a lot. I think this is too low for him.
Yeah.
Like
We still haven't brought up one of the number 2. We were
I'm
talking about all
going
these
in a
number
fucking
2s.
order, Jake. Like we'll get to whoever it is. All right.
I know we will. I'm just saying, like, because Chris brought up Anthony Miller, why don't you yell at him? Like, the point being is, like, we're talking about a lot of number 2s who have an appealing situation, and there's still, like, there's another one we're going to get to.
All right. You want to talk about Justin Jefferson?
That's one of them, but that wasn't the one.
So Jefferson versus Reagor.
No, I'd still take Reagor because Reagor could be the number 1. If Alshon Jeffrey is toast, Jalen Reagor could lead the team in targets or receptions.
These reports that came out recently, I don't know. I think it was Adam Kaplan. Like, no disrespect to Kaplan. I know he follows the Eagles pretty closely.
So do you.
So do I. And he said that Reagor was going to lead all wideouts and snaps. Fine. Okay, there has to be some injuries. But not only that he would lead everybody in targets and catches. Is Jalen Reagor going to catch 90 balls? Because Zach Ertz is going to catch
He's going to
85
lead
balls.
when he said lead everyone in targets and catches, like in the league.
No, on the team.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
On the team.
Including the tight ends?
Including the tight end, Zach Ertz.
Well,
and if anything
yeah.
happens to Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert is going to catch 80 plus
Was he
balls.
woken up from his cat nap yet?
I don't know, man. Because
That's such
Wow.
a cowardly move. As someone who's been sucker punched multiple times, it's so cowardly.
I've been sucker punched too in Halifax.
Mine were all in Halifax too.
Yeah, outside of a pub.
The crown of sucker
What
punches.
the hell are you guys
apparently.
doing in Halifax?
People like to fight in Halifax.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They get a few drinks into them. You know, the Canadian beer bars are open till 4
Yeah,
o'clock in the
university
morning
town.
there. Yeah.
No, if we're in Canada, there's not a real fear of like someone shooting you.
Yeah, none of
Sucker
that.
punches.
You just
abound.
sucker punch, yeah. But back to Reagor, just a lot of things just need to happen for him, right? I mean, yeah, it's easy to sit here and say that Alshon Jeffrey is done. He's not going to play 16 games. Heck, he might start on the pup. I mean, that's possible. And if he starts in the pup,
That's why.
Reagor's going to go even higher.
But like
in drafts.
D-Jax is back.
But Jackson, I mean, again, he played 2 games last year. There's all of that in there. They drafted like 17 wide receivers, I feel like, too, in Philly. So
Yeah,
there's a
but they're all
lot of
Deshaun
people
Jackson
around.
clones.
What about my main man, Greg Ward?
Yeah, Greg Ward. I mean, he deserves at least
He was good.
competition to be a part of this offense. But yeah, he would need something to happen for him too. Like I like Reagor. I like the landing spot. It could be another deep threat, just some speed for Carson Wentz. But I still feel like a lot needs to happen for him to like these reports that he's going to catch 90 balls it's absurd.
Who are the other options on the Vikings after Jefferson?
Olabisi Johnson.
Oh yeah, Olabisi.
Olabisi, I
From
liked him.
Oz.
I
And
played
that's-
him on DK at one point last
And
year.
that's really about it, unless
like-
you want to consider. I mean,
like
they
Irv.
could be very much like the
Yeah.
Eagles, even though Stefanski's gone. They could very much be like with the Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph and a lot of two.
Is
tight ends.
Jefferson going to be outside though, Jake? Like handling that? Like, how do you feel about him with top corners? Like played a lot
I've
of
got to
slot last year.
I would prefer him in the slot, but I'm going to compare it to Kirk and Shepard. It's not the end of the world. He can succeed outside. It would be better if he was inside. Obviously, it would also be better just for the fact that Kirk Cousins is better targeting the slot than he is outside.
Pick number 48 ADP right now, receivers. John Brown, my guy from last year. And we'll talk about Cole Beasley, too, who doesn't appear to be going inside the top 73. Give me Beasley over Brown this year with Diggs there.
Great year last year.
Beasley's like he'll put up, I don't know,
I think Diggs hurts Beasley
75% of what Crowder puts up.
Yeah, but Diggs' game is getting quick, short, open, fast. Like just that's Diggs' game, and that's why I think Beasley gets destroyed by Diggs' value coming in.
I know. I think we'll be surprised. I think Allen will still lean on Beasley a bit.
Yeah, I think that Beasley will outscore John Brown this year.
No, I'll take that bet too.
If you want to go $200 on that one?
Double or nothing on the previous or prior bet.
I'm trying not to get like recency bias with Brown because I had a lot of shares of him last year too, and it worked out. He
was good.
Yeah, he
But he was
healthy,
the number one.
and he was the number one. I still feel like he could have some decent games, but there'll be some inconsistencies there. I think from every Bills wideout.
No, because I think Diggs is going to be consistent and going to be good. I think this is a good real life situation for the Bills and John.
Yeah,
Brown.
it
I
is.
think you can deploy him in really smart ways, and then he's going to have those 3 or 4 games where he absolutely blows up. But I don't want that on my fantasy team.
Right. Yeah.
No, but at the end of the year, I think John Brown will be he'll be the higher scorer, but he won't be the more consistent option. Just go get your boy Josh Allen. That's all you need to do.
So the rest of the guys, let's place a game of in or out on these next like 12 or so guys. Sammy Watkins, in or out? Out.
Out.
Golden Tate, in or out?
I'm in. I like the price.
I think I just go
For the price.
I'd go with Shepard.
It's worth it.
The price is close with Shepard.
Oh, I would take Shepard 1,000 times out of 1,000, but this is pretty deep that where it could be Tate.
Yeah, this is wide receiver number 58. For reference, let's see here. Sterling Shepard was going at wide receiver number 50.
Right.
So
That's Shepard every time.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
All of the players starting with Sammy Watkins are going at pick 150 or after,
Okay.
or to not drafted whatsoever. Robbie Anderson, in or out?
Out.
Out.
Yeah, no chance.
Antonio Gibson, in or out?
Out.
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit later I would, but yeah, out. Okay. 60 out.
Already mentioned this. Hunter Renfrow, in.
I'm out.
Here, yeah. Here's fine. I'm in here.
Brandon Ayuk, out.
Yeah, I'm
At
out
this price,
too.
I'm in.
And he will.
No, at this price, 100% in.
Yeah, but he will.
Yeah,
definitely
I just
go.
said out because he's going to jump up another 15 wide receiver spots.
Exactly. Curtis Samuel, in or out?
Out.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm more in on him than I am on Robbie Anderson
Yes.
on Carolina.
Agree.
Now, so, N'Keal Harry, in or out?
At this price,
Yeah,
I'm
at
in.
this price, I'm in.
Alan Lazard.
I'm in.
Thank you.
I'm in. Oh, this was the guy. Yeah.
100% in on this one. Like, there's
Have to be.
Alan Lazard should be close to, if not side top 50. Like, what do you want? The number 2 Packers wide receiver as of today. Like, we'll look at his competition. He's the number 2 wide receiver. Valdez Scantling's nothing. Equinemius St. Brown's nothing. Like, just go down the list.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, Geronimo's got like
Where's
there's
he?
nothing
I
here.
think he's with Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah. He's the new Amendola backup.
Little red zone option. I don't know. But yeah, Jake's right. There's absolutely, they did nothing. They did nothing at the draft to help out Rodgers.
Yeah,
Lazard and
they drafted him a-
Sternberger.
They gave him a floor at backup quarterback.
And that's why everyone's getting excited about the tight end because they just didn't give another option.
I
Yeah,
will-
MVS had every opportunity last year to be successful.
There is one more, Chris. And I will say at this same cost, granted he's god awful to watch, but throw his chance on Funches too, if he's the number 2.
He's even deeper.
Yeah, he's not even going to be on the list. I actually don't mind that call.
Everybody
I've
forgot
heard a lot of
Funches is
Funches
there.
lately, but he has to be outside the top 70 for me to take a shot on Funches. Like, this is another guy who...
Yeah, well, we're almost there with Lazard
Yeah.
being 65. All right, so in on Lazard,
Yeah.
66. Tony Brown, or Antonio Brown, as some people like. Do you take a fly? For years, we did this with Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
And we'll even throw Josh Gordon into this mix because he's reinstated. I have no idea how long he's suspended for. But do you take these guys in a draft
I don't.
if they're not if they're unsigned? At the
I just
moment?
don't want to deal with him. And when Brown gets reinstated, is he going to be suspended? Is he going to have to miss time?
100%.
Like, am I going to have this guy on my roster for 6
You
to
have
8
to
weeks?
put him on your bench for 6 to 8 weeks.
No
Like,
chance.
no.
I'm not doing it. And when he comes back, how many games is he going to play? 1 before he loses his mind? Like, no chance. I'm not doing it.
Alshon Jeffrey, 67.
No. Oh.
Yeah. At 67, I will.
He looks washed.
He looked
I know.
really slow last year. Really
He did
slow.
100%, but was he hurt the entire year?
I don't even know if it's a product of him being hurt. I think he suffers from Kelvin Benjamin syndrome. Like these big receivers just deteriorate so quickly.
Yeah, I would agree. That's
certainly fair, but you're telling me if you saw him in August running full speed that you wouldn't be back in on him?
No, because he's going to see his full speed, see how slow he is, and he's just going to double down that he's out.
No, if he's that slow.
Yeah.
I'll have to see that before I believe it. I'm going to work
probably
going to
start on the pup.
True. Denzel Mims out.
Yeah, I'm out too.
Yeah.
Paris Campbell.
I'm in on Campbell.
At
I'm in
this
on
late,
Campbell.
I
I think he'd be a slot guy there. I think
we discussed Pittman in last show in part 3, but would you rather have Campbell or Pittman?
I'd rather Campbell.
You'd rather Campbell?
For the price, yeah.
I mean, Pittman's a wide receiver 56. It's not like you're paying an exorbitant price for him.
Yeah, but it's still like, Campbell's a guy that you're picking like with your last pick.
Picking up off free agency.
Look, Pat knows I like Paris Campbell, but the problem is T.Y. Hilton runs out of the slot sometimes. Pittman, as long as he succeeds to what they expect him to be, he's going to be on the field more than Campbell will be.
Larry Fitz, in or out? I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Out.
Randall Cobb, I believe we
all
said
of us.
we're in.
Yeah, for sure.
Billion%.
More on him in the last show. T. Higgins, we also did in the last show. Out on him.
I'm out too.
My guy,
I know. My
Dede
guy
Westbrook?
too. Let me down last year.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see a lot of him in Foles. Only in the preseason. Remember in the preseason?
Well, now we'll never see them.
We'll never see them together again. And I think I'm just out. This is a team that's going to have to pass the football, but I don't think there's a clear number 2, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was Chenault.
But I wouldn't be shocked if it was
Minshew
Dede.
didn't like
It could be.
Minshew
but
didn't do much with Westbrook.
Yeah, what are we looking at here? I don't know if Leonard Fournette's going to get another 70 catches or whatever he had. And they're bringing Chris Thompson to probably, he's been with Gruden before. I mean, if he's healthy, he catches some balls. But there,
yeah, you know who else has been with Gruden?
Who?
Tyler Eifert.
Oh yeah! Wow, I forgot about Eifert.
Gruden bringing back all like the previous Gruden favorites.
I think Eifert played all 16 games last year.
Congratulations!
I don't think he did anything in any of them.
No, he didn't.
So we've gone through the top 73 on the ADP list in terms of receivers. Is there any receiver outside of this that we haven't mentioned over the course of this?
Yes.
These 4 shows that you want to hit on? Who are they?
Corey Davis. Somebody
Okay.
he's free now. This is somebody that was their pure talent. One of the best. Everybody was all over him for the past 2-3 years, and now he's undraftable. Like I understand Tannehill's not going to throw for 35 times a game, but he's costing you nothing now to be in on Corey Davis. Devontae Parker career, tell me you wouldn't take a chance on maybe he turns into Devontae Parker.
Do we worry about Tannehill in that offense, losing their left tackle?
Yeah, shouldn't you?
I think it's. I don't think it's concerning. I don't think it's
I'm
the end
concerned
of the world.
about it.
They have 2 options. They either run the ball or play action with AJ Brown. Really, I mean, I guess Johnny Smith, I guess, is solid. Corey Davis is certainly talented. I've tried to. I mean, last year I think I looked at him every single week as a guy this is the week. Let's get him more involved. And they just don't even seem to get him involved. He is talented. I think we just need to see him on another squad.
You got anyone?
No, not really.
Okay.
We kind of skimmed over Jackson, but is a guy that I'd rather take a shot. All the Philly wide receivers, that's the guy I would like to take a shot on.
On D-Jax?
Yeah.
Just stay healthy, do some damage. Jake, is there anyone else you got way deep?
We talked about him last show, but Miles Boykin.
Miles Boykin, Jalen Hurd is someone you brought up on last show too.
Yeah,
I already
those
brought
are
up
songs
Trent
that.
Taylor.
Trent Taylor, your guy.
I never got Trent Taylor.
It's Jimmy G's guy, man.
Yeah,
Holy,
Trent Taylor's like the poor man's Hunter Renfrow.
You could throw a dart on some threes like Josh Reynolds and the new Mohamed Sanu. What the hell, Russell Gage? You could do some of those.
Russell
guys.
Gage is actually pretty interesting because everyone just thinks that all those targets are going to go to Hurst. You got Matt Ryan on there talking about how he's the fastest tight end he's ever seen. Settle down, all the hype. But there is a scenario here where Russell Gage could get a few targets out of the slot.
In the cage with Russell Gage.
I mean, it's still going to be a bad football team playing from behind a lot, throwing the ball a lot. Too.
I kind of like Reynolds. Who did they draft, Jake? Who was the receiver they drafted in round 2?
Who?
The Rams.
The Rams.
Van Jefferson.
Yeah, Van Jefferson.
Is he going to
Van Jefferson? No, he's competition for Josh Reynolds, but Josh Reynolds showed enough last year, and Van Jefferson's an answer outside. This kind of goes to I think they're looking at Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. This is a long term of something next year, the year after that they're going to not be able to keep all 3 pieces that they have right now.
So where do we think Reynolds lines up in the system? Because you spoke before about
Outside.
Cooper Kupp and the other shows that if they do go play 12, which I think they'll scale back on this year after doing it towards the end of the season a little bit, Kupp was the one who was coming off the field. But if that's the case, does that mean Reynolds stays on the field?
Yeah. So in my bold predictions, which are like, these are fun, like these are like, obviously 10, 20% chance of these happening. But I go back to that Cooper Kupp over the final 5 weeks dropped to 72, 28, 91, which is the big game, 61 and 61% of the snaps. Josh Reynolds hovered in the 30 to 45, 46% range. That's not overtaking the situation with Cooper Kupp, but yeah, that 1 week he was at 28.6 it did, but he's in that range of like, that's a rookie towards the end of the year starting to see more opportunities. Again, not saying he will definitively out snap Kupp, but if you're putting Kupp in the 70% range versus the 90% range and Reynolds is in the 40 to 50% next year, Reynolds is worth taking a flyer on, and Cooper Kupp's overdrafted.
And I think they're going to actually have a hard time running the football there in LA.
Yeah.
Like, I think
They're going to have trouble being good.
It's crazy, right?
Cam Akers, too much disrespect. He had a terrible.
No, I
offensive
like
line.
Cam
It was
Akers.
amazing.
I think he's great, but I mean, Whitworth is a guy who struggled last year with injuries. I mean, he goes down. I think the line struggles, and Goff is just, he can't handle that pressure. Oh man, they were 2 years away from getting Belichick in the Super Bowl.
They went all in and they ruined their cap and they didn't plan for the future. They planned to win and they didn't win.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be bad for a bit.
Yeah. Rough.
Anyway, that will do it. Pat Mayo Experience. Jake Ciely, everyone can find you at All In Kid on Twitter and at The Athletic, obviously. However, podcast, what do you got going on now?
Oh yeah, it's been tough trying to get into the All In Sports podcast. I had D'Angelo Williams on. That was fun. That was good times. He talked about how miserable my dating life was. But no, the podcast is over on The Athletic too. That's the throwback that Chris used to be on. I miss Chris.
I have heard of it. It's a good show. Nice intro. Good outro.
Did you make those?
No, Jake did.
Oh.
No, I made them. I made them, and I had to edit it. I had to do a whole new one and take Chris's name out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Chris, Meaney, FadeTheNoise.com.
Fade the Noise, new home. Yeah, I mean, just keep checking on Twitter. Lots of new things happening.
At Chris Meaney on Twitter. Go check him out. You can follow me at the PME. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Rate and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. 5 stars. That would be nice. Also, smash the like for the episode and give me your guy. We rapid fire through like 20 of these names here. Maybe there's someone else we didn't mention. Which one of those guys is your last round pick at wide receiver? You tell me. That would be nice. Create the engagement. For the episode, you can go back and check out previous episodes for fantasy football in the description of this video and podcast, and even including my top 200 rankings, which should be out now on DKPlaybook.com. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!